Commission on the third Tuesday of the month at 3 p.m. And I'll call it to order. President Barry Egger, Chair, Brenna Ewing, Clerk, and Robert Kyle, Superintendent. And we're
Being recorded.
here and in session, and and anybody that's here is subject to being recorded. And I think that's all the things I gotta say.
Okay.
Last month,
Minutes for last month. August 20th, meeting opened at 3:07. Minutes were read and accepted as read. Voted unanimously, 3-0. Barry Yeager reported that Robinson's account is verified to be active.
The what?
Verified.
Oh,
The
yeah.
Robinson's
Yep, that's
account
fine,
is verified.
that's fine,
Barry and Brenna reported a trip to Westport in the procuring of 5 gallons of D2 stone cleaner, which we have on hand. And we were lacking a signature by the purveyor at that time.
Yeah. We still are.
Barry encumbered the 2024 budget for the for $208 pending
Yeah.
the signature on the D2 purchase. Bills were reviewed for July and signed, including the superintendent's pay, postage, and supplies. $519.94 were the first expenses for July of 2025. Then we had discussion of, and the minutes were read and accepted, yes. Then we had discussion of stone cleaning day, should take place after Barry's talk on the historical stones in the old cemetery. Should be approximately the 21st or the 28th.
I'm looking at October for that now.
Or possibly, yeah, all right, so we'll schedule our cleanup of the stones to follow the historic stones cleanup. We discussed the fact that the D2 solution would be applied. There needed to be supplies purchased, a box of gloves, stiff brushes, spray bottles, plastic putty knives. So that's a purchase that needs to take place. We discussed planting 3 spirea plants, bushes, at North Cemetery sign, and Robert recommended that we widen the bed, which I agree, absolutely, so the mower doesn't run over the little green tips. Then there was a discussion that we needed another mower. One more gearbox is leaking. Is it time to replace it? And that mower is a year 2000 era. And then the on the 2013 mower, the hydrostatic drive, plus a new pulley, plus it may need a new pulley. We discussed the fact that the new mower needed to be a gas mower. And at the Maytown meeting, we'll need a warrant article of appropriation for the cemeteries. And we agreed that Walker mower is the best. Then we also talked about RFQs needed to be done in October of this year. So we have the quotes ready for the October meeting. Barry reported he took a call with an inquiry. No discussion further on that. And motion to adjourn was made and seconded unanimously at 3:45.
Sounds good to me.
Okay. Motion to approve?
Seconded.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
There's a couple of those things that are still in process, and we know that, so that's fine.
Yeah.
All righty. We'll talk about that new mower thing again later.
Double. I'm confused.
Okay, what do we got for bills?
I got that one. That's the Paul's bill and his, the two things, the two, hydrostatic drive for one of the mowers and then the gearbox. And
Okay, yeah,
they
we've
needed a
got parts
spline
for
too.
mowers,
Yeah, two of the mowers.
and we've got a burial. And, yeah, okay.
So, is this some of what I was just reading about?
Yeah.
Maybe some of the parts?
Yeah, this is the bills for it.
I can actually
Bill's
sign
fine.
that too.
I got it behind here.
Can I make note of what you just said I was writing instead of listing?
What do you want?
So it's the bills,
It's bills for parts for mowers
bills review, mower parts,
and a burial
yeah, mower
from
parts
Roger Wheeler and Sons.
and burial. And what were the mower parts, so I can,
We don't need to
okay,
record that in a minute. Just that it's mower parts.
gotcha.
Well, we can all sign that one.
And borrow your pen?
Yep.
I don't wanna sign a pencil.
No, it's not legal.
No. Okay. Sorry. I got bit by a spider. Over 2 months ago.
Hmm?
I got bitten by a spider over
Oh.
2 months ago,
Ooh,
and it's still
ooh,
mad itchy.
This was in the,
yeah.
box.
And this says that we spent $140.41 last month, is that right? Dave, is that the amount we spent last month?
Must be, yeah.
What did you
Yeah,
say?
'cause
How
mine-
much?
Don't worry about it.
I think I just read the number. What?
Oh, what did you say? What did you say it was last month?
I think it was
That's the
five.
that's probably the gas bill.
140 bucks?
Yeah, because they do it about once a year.
No, I've got $519 and $90.54.
Oh,
It didn't get recorded.
oh, wait a minute, this is dated August 31.
And this is
Well,
August
that should
20th.
still be,
It didn't,
that says that bill didn't get done. I guess I don't wanna sign it yet, and we'll think
Okay.
about it.
Okay,
Uh,
so one outstanding bill,
we still have your bill.
yeah, and that's,
Yeah.
to be paid.
And, what did you do on that burial?
I marked it out, and then that was about it. Cut
That's
it,
about it.
and I showed up Monday to,
Yeah.
I was planning to get out of work anyways, and I ended up getting a doctor's appointment, so I ended up.
You
going with them.
end up doing finished work on the top of the grave?
No, it's all been,
It was all done?
yeah,
I guess you don't charge for it then.
okay.
Okay.
So what do I note about this one?
You don't have to note anything
Okay, so
about
nothing,
this.
it's not, it's outstanding.
No, no, this is just a check from the accountant against our accounts.
Gotcha.
And
Oh,
I need to see why the other thing is not, because it ought to be if that's August 31. So this
Because I
is,
had
we also have the bill for
two-
the superintendent and
There was two
burials
ashes.
and $569.
And this goes with it. That goes
Yeah,
with it.
and these are the things that go with it. Wow, there's a lot of stuff on here.
Yeah. Some days you don't, the phone doesn't ring, and other days it rings 4 times.
Oh, yeah. And this is, and we've had, yeah. We gotta talk about that.
Well, I got that on my list over here.
The break-in?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. All right, so this is all set.
Yep.
Whoops, I'm there.
I just gotta make copies of the 2
Yep.
top ones, and then I
Um,
can turn that into her, to John.
I have spent some time looking up the Simonian lot, and I think it's, what was written in the book was confusing, because it was listed as 3 graves
Yep,
in the list, but then one of them is listed as open,
that's what I have
which
in
would not
mind.
normally be on anybody's thing.
That's what I have in mind.
And I spent some time looking for it in papers that I had, and I didn't have it. And I was in there today and went through and found the year that it,
2000.
where it was recorded, and the amount of money would appear to be right for 2 graves. It was $600 for purchase and
Perpetual care,
perpetual care.
because he bought them right
Yeah,
at that moment.
right at that time. And it's one check that includes the burial too.
Okay.
But the
I-
600 for the purchase and stuff. And that would appear in '06 to be the price of the 2 graves.
Yes,
So I think that that's the case. And I guess he wrote it on that in the book because when the row had been sold over to here, and then apparently they sold some here in '89, and then he figured out that there was 3 graves of space where he
well,
sold
I
the 2.
was up there with him, and we started, he says, and we started looking, and I says, there's another one here.
Yeah, he didn't, this should never have been sold without making clear what was there in between.
Yeah,
But it had been, and so that was what was done. So he listed that as an open, so I've got to fix my record so it's right. But I think that I guess that's correct, your understanding of it, I think, is borne out by the financial thing. That's what I was looking for, was something
Yeah.
to prove it, that's what it
but
was.
I was there, so I remember the conversation.
You were there when he had the conversation?
When we were figuring it out, and
Okay.
and I didn't know, pay attention to putting it in open, but I knew there was another one there, and,
When we get in there the next time on those, we'll cross out that 3rd thing on that sheet for that lot.
and put a separate tag.
And
for
just put a
itself.
separate thing that
For its
we've
own
got
tag.
an extra grave there.
Okay.
Um,
I think he, too, with it, it was meant it could go either side.
Yeah. Someday when if nothing happens in the meantime, if somebody wants one grave in the old part, we can sell them.
And the name is
It isn't a name because it's unsold. It's
discussion of
between Simonian and Garso
single.
in row 8 in the Quaker in the Q section, Quaker section. But I was looking for something that would bear it out, that what the correct number was.
If it was-
And the 600 appears to be
If
the
it was
right thing.
right or wrong.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, that one caught me unawares, because based on the fact that it had the 3 things on here, I put them in my list as 3 graves. But after you said what you said, and then I got thinking, and I went and found the financial record that bears it out.
Verify the,
But he didn't put it in the town report that year as sold.
the 2
He
graves.
forgot, he missed that one in his list of graves sold.
Okay.
So now I
Which is a
know.
clerical error that could easily be made, right?
Well, yeah,
Basically,
I mean,
yeah.
it's, I use those annual reports a lot to go look something up from a while, years
Of
ago.
course,
Sure.
sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, just because it's an easier way to look it up than
Right, right,
other
right.
things are. And so now I know that one was one that
So
fell
it's-
through the cracks.
It's row 8 in Quaker North.
Yeah,
Gotcha. All right, very, very good,
Uh,
interesting.
Robert, your list.
Okay, well, let's start with the break-in. Let's start
Yes,
with
we
that
had a
one.
break-in in the South Cemetery shed. Again.
And this time,
This
they,
is at least the third one in a couple of years.
yes, the third time. And this time, because we had the hasp was hardened, it's a hardened hasp, so they tried prying.
Yeah.
But then I had put one of those lock, I call it a U-Haul lock, because you couldn't get on it to do it. They came back with cutting torches and cut the hasp, the hook on the hasp, cut the torch and pulled the lock off, and that's how they got into the
Boy.
shed. So they had to come with cutting torches to get into the building.
Wow.
That's pretty, and they stole the weed whacker and the backpack blower out of there.
And the backpack?
Backpack blower, there was an older backpack blower in there for blowing leaves,
Oh, yeah.
and they stole that out of there.
When did this happen?
Last month?
Yep.
August, I think.
It was August, and it was. The 29th, I think it happened between the 28th and the 29th, because the 29th, I got a text from Fred, because Jim was down there, and they found it, I don't exactly, I got a text about 8:30 in the morning, that they had, and a voicemail that they had broken in, and they had closed it, and they looked around, and they wanted to know if I was gonna file a police report, and I did.
Yeah.
Went to the police, and Fred had already talked to the police, but Eric wasn't in, so I stopped later and talked to Eric, and they also told the selectman secretary and the town administrator got an email or
Okay.
that it had happened. So, and then we did some more investigating, and Jim thought they had just taken the weed whacker, but when I went down, I looked around, I saw the backpack blower was missing, because it had been over in the back, so he wouldn't have seen, he wouldn't have seen it.
Missed that.
Yeah, and, which can happen, takes
Yeah,
usually a few sets of eyes to find something.
but the weed whacker was relatively new.
Yes, it was.
We just bought that a couple of 3 years ago.
A little further than that, but still
Not too
fairly,
long.
fairly new.
Yeah,
And,
so we probably gotta replace that.
well, yeah.
You kinda gotta have one.
So I've
Yeah.
had a problem on my property with a ne'er-do-well contractor that is a known criminal drug user who we suspect has taken things from us on numerous occasions.
Anything in the period stated at the time there?
Well, he's friends with somebody that I was talking to, I was having conversations with between August 21st, August 28th, 29th, 30th, September 1st. I could have come up in conversation,
Yeah, well, I would,
and he's somewhat notorious. His auntie lives on South Street. And his,
well, I would, we'll see whether there's anything that we can come up with that we can put in the hands of the police on the subject.
I don't mind stopping over there and mentioning
Yeah.
that I
Yeah,
had
all right, we don't.
it was casual conversation
I
with
know.
somebody else, but every time I get, there seems to be a tie-in, like
Yeah.
if I'm
Yeah.
I'm in the local Scuttlebutt News, next thing you know, something's missing.
Yeah,
And
Well,
I don't think that there's a conspiracy between the two. I think
Yeah.
that the casual mention of my name, then he goes, oh yeah, South Berlin, I go take something down there, or whatever.
well,
Yeah.
well, if we
It's in there to-
we will refer anything that we can come up with in that regard to their investigation.
Yes,
And so that night, they put the loader bucket against the door. It was Thursday, so that nobody could get in.
Oh.
And they have since, Fred sent one of the guys down, and on Monday morning, and they took the bucket out, and they took everything of value out of the building. The mowers are out, the wheelbarrow, anything of value they took out, and I took a few more things out of there, and so there's nothing of any value in there.
Nothing of any
Few-
interest.
Yeah, well, a shovel, because
Yeah.
I need it there, and just, you know, and so.
Guys-
That's the kind of stuff they've stolen, is equipment,
The guy's a
Yeah.
piece of
tools
work.
and equipment. And so, we need to get those, they've never bothered the mowers.
Because you can trace those with serial numbers, and
Oh.
easier, and someone, if you buy one and it gets fixed, or somebody sees it, they take it somewhere, the numbers, they check serial numbers, and it can come up
Yeah.
somewhere, and then it's traceable, and it also, I think, you're up above the misdemeanor to grand theft, too.
Oh, to grand theft, yes.
I
Oh, yeah,
think-
because those are high value.
High value, so now
Yeah.
you've
They're
put
worth
yourself, I
over
think.
$10,000.
Plus you have to drive by the Berlin police driving the mower down the street.
Well, no, but but even if it went somewhere else, it can
Yeah.
be traced through the serial number.
I know.
Yeah, but they would be much higher value for charges.
Yes, and I think you step up to a felony.
Yep, yep. Okay, so we,
Disgusting.
but that's in the bucket of the police department,
Disgusting.
an
Yeah.
investigation, and anything we can add to that, we will.
Yeah, I also, down there for the same thing, I did, because, I know down to the community gardens, they have cameras. And I was gonna talk to James Wheeler.
There's something at the community garden,
They have cameras down there for
Oh, yeah.
security. And I was, and I guess James Wheeler got them for him, that's what
Oh,
Debbie
okay.
Rolfe told me. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna talk to him to see what, just to kick around some ideas.
Yeah,
motion sensor cameras or something.
yeah,
Yes.
definitely.
Yeah, that would-
Because you worry about it stolen, but I'm sure I could ask Fred about putting them high up in a tree.
The other
with a
person-
bucket truck. He
Yeah.
has the bucket truck.
The other person to talk to about that would be Kyle Tucker, who was
Set some
deploying,
things like that.
he was deploying motion detectors with what do they call it?
Drone?
The drone. He was deploying them.
Oh, okay,
Oh, all right.
So, you can tell him I sent you.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
So we're
he's-
gonna investigate the possibility of
Yeah.
doing
Yes.
that. Yep.
And,
No, we've had more trouble there in the last 2 years, a year and a half or so, than we've had
In 50 years.
20 years before.
oh, well,
Yeah.
never had a problem.
Since
Never had a
since
problem.
the
I thought there
helicopter
was a
stole
break
the
once
fountain.
before.
A brick?
Oh, the helicopter, yeah. The fountain theft was.
That was a
that's
long time.
That was 50
That
years ago.
was the 70s,
Yeah.
78, I think it
That
was.
That was 50 years ago.
I also thought of possibly of putting gates up down there. Locking the gate, then you get someone gonna open, closing them. It's just it's a thought.
Well, I know. and
Cameras are better, I think.
I understand, but you have to approach all avenues.
I agree.
One of the problems with that for us is that they've got to be opened at dawn and closed at sunset.
Dusk, well, that's the thing that was
Right.
talked
And
about, but it's still.
That becomes.
A staffing issue.
That becomes an issue of staff and paying somebody, because I don't expect anybody to do that for free.
Well, it's just a,
And,
I
and so,
thought about that too, and
Yeah.
opening and closing them and stuff, but I also figured it was worth throwing out there.
was that cemetery has got a wall around it,
And
which North does not.
yeah, and
Um,
two gates would lock it pretty good.
hmm?
Two gates would much lock it.
Yes, I mean, certainly for vehicular access,
Vehicles, yes.
it would take care of that. And, there are a lot of, there are cemeteries that they leave them up all the time. I mean, in Lancaster, at the old Middle Cemetery, they leave the chains up all the time. You can walk around it to get in, so it's sort of open to the public that way, but it is closed to vehicles all the time. But that's a early 19th century cemetery, early to mid 19th century cemetery. There's not much of anything buried there in the 20th century.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's probably a very
A
little,
long time back.
very little recent burial.
It's as
activity.
far back as our burying ground
Okay,
in time. And, of course, Lancaster being a much earlier town has another cemetery that is much earlier out in the woods. But, and that cemetery, they claim, is closed all the time except by permission.
well,
The ancient one is closed all the time except by permission. And that's so if anybody's in there messing around, they got them for, nobody's allowed in there unless you.
well, you automatically can bag you for trespassing. They can automatically get you for trespassing.
Yeah,
So then they can further investigate and,
I mean, I've been in there numbers of times and at least some of those without permission, but I don't usually go in there. I don't go in there often, so no issue. But I think that's the idea of it, is by having it in that arrangement. It's in the woods and it's not visible from any street.
so unless you really know about it, you wouldn't be
Yeah.
in there.
But
That's
it's vulnerable to vandalism by.
It's very
ne'er do-
vulnerable
ne'er-
because it is
Nobody sees it.
isolated. yeah.
Right.
Yeah. On the other hand, it's great to go in there and you really feel like you've stepped back to the 1600s almost, because it's
Yeah,
it's untouched and it's in the woods,
how cool. See,
the settlers' burying ground. Anyway, yes, well, that's
unfortunate.
is worthy of consideration. Yeah, gates in South Berlin would be workable.
Yeah,
But again, then you've got to, how's that gonna be handled, so it's handled properly, so it's open when it should be. Of course, it would also solve some of the problem. We could consider placing the gates so that there's still an opening for a pedestrian to go in, a side of the gates, and we could keep the gates closed when it's muddy.
yes, in
The spring,
the winter and stuff. Well, I think then I remember the chains being pulled across.
yeah, we used to have the chains across in the winter.
Because people could still get in,
Yeah.
walk in,
Yeah, they could
but you
still,
couldn't take a car over.
but you couldn't get the vehicle in. And of course, we could still do that too.
What about,
Half the chains are still there.
so, yeah, so what about, as far as the alternative is cameras, how, motion activated cameras, how would that be monitored? Would it be the cable that reviews the films? You only look at them when something's wrong? Like,
That's,
how would that be?
I think nowadays they can have them so that they go someplace so you can get them on your computer or something.
I think so too. That's kind of what's up. But
Yeah.
I was gonna ask James, in the same thing, how you would monitor
Yeah,
them.
what they've done
And
down
I
there.
think they said from what I gathered, not, that you look at them on your computer. You
Yeah.
can check them whenever you want. And they also, I think they alert, because I know people have them, a friend of mine has them at her house because she got broken into.
Right.
And so anybody pulls in the yard with the cameras, it automatically calls her phone. It rings her phone.
So it would be monitored by somebody, so it could be the police department that the notice went to, that there's a,
Well,
Probably not, because they don't accept alarms, but that doesn't mean somebody can't monitor it and refer it to them when they need to.
but then you might get, a thing goes off at 3 o'clock in the afternoon when it's just somebody in there
Yeah,
for legitimate reasons.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, the big thing is it's about, most likely we're dealing with night.
Yeah, and I think,
I suppose it could be 5:30 in the morning, but,
well, there's a lot of them, you go to the cemeteries and no trespassing, dusk to dawn.
well, that's what we,
Right at the front gate, you have,
Yeah.
there's a sign there, so you can't say,
yeah,
there's no sign. So you would have to actually
Yeah.
do something like that too.
yeah.
And
All right, well, those are all ways that we can address this, and we'll keep ourselves thinking about all of that and investigating a couple of those things and seeing where we think we need to be. But I would love to have the chains up in the late winter and spring when it's muddy. Let people walk in instead of, but I don't know.
Well, that's,
If they can stay on the pavement, it's not a problem for
Yeah,
them
but
to
they-
go in.
some can't seem to do that.
Yes, yes.
Or, well, they'll go down a grass road.
No, I know, and then they
Yeah.
get stuck,
Yeah,
reinstall,
well,
reinstall
Because they can't,
the entry chain.
Okay,
chains.
okay.
Um,
I got a thing from Anna Duffy about turning over a couple of the graves at North to Tom's two girls. This is what she wrote.
oh, Anna. Okay.
Anna Duffy, yeah. She's got two of them, that's two of them, not all of them. And those are, think of the two that are out. We're her, those are in row 4.
Yeah.
Did you say north?
This is at North. She wants to do it so that, because I told her it has to be done a certain way so that it
Normally,
is all legit.
this kind of a, this is an unusual situation. And normally, we don't allow just transfers of plots unless it's within the family. But where Mr. Hartland bought this and put Anna's name on it, she did sign the document. I didn't record it till she'd signed the document, but he was putting pressure on her to do that, and at this point, she wants to turn them over to his daughters so that they
Can use them.
can use them if they want to.
Because I think,
And-
because he paid for, he paid for them. So I
He
think
paid for 'em.
That's why she wants to do that.
He paid for him for her, and his daughters were not pleased with the whole mess. In fact, Anna wasn't either. But due to the unusual nature of it, I would entertain a motion to approve the transfer of, in the North Cemetery, row 4, front field, North Cemetery, FF, front field, row 4, plot 21 and 22, graves 21 and 22.
Hold on. North Cemetery, front
Front field,
field,
row 4.
row 4.
Grave 21 and 22.
And I think the girls are both listed there.
Yep,
Motion seconded.
to transfer them to Jill and Holly Hartland from Anna Duffy. Due to the unusual nature of what happened when these were purchased, and they were paid for by Mr. Hartland.
So
And I think that I
Kinda-
would entertain a motion to allow this transfer
yes,
without charge.
Are we voting, or is this?
I will make a motion to
Okay,
accept this.
motion made,
Accepted,
seconded.
seconded.
Anything to be said on it? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Record 3-0. Aye.
Yep.
Okay. She says she'll provide documentation to them, but I think that, I'm wondering whether we need to,
make out a new one of those, or make out something,
Well, I would say, we can copy this and put,
sign our names to it.
and document that the cemetery commission has approved this change.
Why don't I go do that right now? We'll just,
I don't think we need to all sign it, as long as we've got it in our minutes.
And we should record the date when it was accepted in the minutes, so that
Yes.
there's a reference 30 years from now along,
Yeah.
that they can.
And then they would
look
have
up.
they would have a record to go with that. At the time we did it, I wrote this letter and I sent him this, and she signed it to come back, because he wouldn't leave her alone if she didn't. And so, at that point, we
Thank
took
God.
the recording, and his daughters were kind of annoyed because they felt that and it wasn't her doing it all, it was him, totally him.
why did he do that? Who knows?
It's a long story. It's something.
Where was he from?
Ashland, I think, originally.
Came from down there, but he was living at Norfolk Village at the time, in Berlin. And I just think that.
Anna is the mother.
Hmm?
No, the daughter.
Oh, Anna is Annie.
Yeah,
Okay,
she's the one that's
She's-
a year or two younger than you.
yep.
And I saw her,
She goes up and visits there. I've seen her there quite a few
yeah,
times.
I've seen her, I've seen her, and I think she did tell me she wanted to do this, and I said, well, write us a letter, and
Well, she called me and I told her the same thing.
Yeah.
You
I
have to.
said, write us a
'cause
letter that says, I'd like to do
This
this.
is, because you
Yeah.
wanted approved at a meeting so that it becomes legal
Yeah,
documentation. Because it was done at a monthly meeting. But the two girls are up there. I've seen the two girls, one of the girls up there.
Yeah.
And they're up there washing the stones.
I think that,
Yeah, so,
I think that if this is, I think this'll help a lot for peace in the family.
I think so too.
Anna was thick with him for a while, but by the time this happened, she really wanted to be free of him.
Oh,
He was really,
so many are.
yeah, yeah. Okay, so we've done that,
Cool.
and we'll make a copy of this, and put, I'll
Write something
write something on this.
which tells the meeting this
Yeah.
month
And
and
now
stuff
you
like
send
that.
that back to her,
Yeah.
And then we can send that to
and then
her,
all this packet is in our files.
documentation.
Part of it will be in the file, we can put right in the files.
Yeah,
And then,
yeah, we'll put a copy of everything.
put it right in with the graves
We'll put all this
themselves.
stuff right together in a file.
Right in with the.
All
the-
right. It
Good
looks
job.
like all of these other things are copies.
Yes, I think
I
that's
think
the
she's kept the
stonework and
originals
everything.
on it. And
No.
so I would, yeah, I think that's the right thing to do.
Cool.
Okay. I got a call from Fred the other day,
Yep.
and the price of paving has come way down because of the election. The price of oil has come.
Oh,
So he got a call, I gotta sit and talk to him a little more, and he says, figure out what you want done, because the guy coming with a paver, I guess they're a little, I wouldn't say slow, I think he said, but it can go down to 13 feet. He can get the paver in there, the one they use.
yeah.
So we can do anything that's 13 feet and bigger can be done down there. So I was down marking out stuff with arrows, orange paint, and where to go. And he was gonna go down and measure it and see, get a ballpark figure of how much we could get done with the money we have left. And because the price is good, I figured I was gonna try to get as much as we could get done with that paver because the price is really down. It's good, it's a, you know, I think,
We wanna go from we want the whole center drive done all the way back to our building.
yes, and you also the cross drive all the way down.
And the cross drive from where it's left off from before, all the way to the
Corner.
north end.
And I know that has to be dug out, and Fred knows that. We talked about that in front of where Roger Wheeler is one.
Yeah.
That has to be dug out because it's deteriorated.
Yeah.
And they know that, and
I mean,
so.
those were the parts that we specifically were getting done with that.
Yes,
Now,
and,
if there's more,
well, depending, because when you get up at the north end, the water line goes under the driveway.
yeah,
And I think I know where it goes under, just by looking at it. And I was gonna try, maybe, if I get the line replaced, so- or at least get it sleeved,
yeah,
go around just to start the corner, and that's it. Because then it narrows down
yes.
to 12 feet.
And that drive was in pretty good shape with the old stone.
Yes, it is.
That's in good
There's
shape.
other things that are not as good.
Yeah,
And I was gonna go down around to the building, and if there was more money, there's the piece that comes from over by Cordelia's, which is 13 feet wide over there, 13 and a half feet wide.
over by Cordelia's.
Cordelia's Farm, where
Yeah.
that piece, if there's more money, gonna do that too.
Coming back
Are you
towards
talking
Pleasant.
about doing the cross drive over to there? Or are you talking about doing across the back?
No, the cross drive that comes over from
From the
over,
south drive,
yeah,
we did not,
well,
oh, this is the wrong cemetery here.
Oh, what the hell?
there's,
Sorry. Hell. How did I do that? I'm sorry.
here's the,
There we go.
Sorry, I whipped out
There
the
we
wrong
go.
one.
You talking about this piece?
piece, if there's enough, because at some point, it's gonna have to get done.
Yeah,
I was gonna use that as.
that's not in bad shape either, but.
No, but if there's enough
It's gotta
money,
be anyway.
it might as well get done, if the prices are good.
The other
prices.
place is this lot, this one across back
is
here
north.
is,
But that's 12 feet. And when you get down past that, our big, huge tree down there by where Brownsworth is.
yeah,
That needs to be dug out. And that narrows down, really narrow,
yes, that's narrow across. there.
very narrow. So I was gonna get
That's basically the size of these things, of these
here,
things.
yeah, and from here to here.
Yes.
Try to get, but then if, depending on the price, if there was enough to do this, I would do that.
Oh,
you
I
could-
see. I get what you're
Just in
saying.
case, because
Yeah,
at some point it's gotta
Right.
get done.
yeah. So
Super.
when we started off, we've now done in here and over here.
Right,
And we've done the first beginning of this.
right.
And so now we want to finish this and finish
Finish
from where this
that.
is left over to here.
And then if we
And
could,
then if we can, you'll add this on it.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Depending on,
All right,
you know, if,
all right.
how much it's gonna
Sweet.
cost. I mean,
Yeah.
that's all.
Yep.
And if I can't do this whole piece, I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah.
Either. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna,
No.
because ours is worded,
That's
so
fine.
we can, even if we have a little left, we can
Yeah,
still.
yeah. I just want to make sure we get the part done we said we'd do.
Yes.
sweet.
Because some of that's in lousy shape. This part is awful and has been for a long time.
Yeah, and this is bad too.
Although
right
Freddie's
here.
filled in a couple of holes, so
Yeah.
it's not quite as bad.
This is the worst, probably,
Yeah,
as
this is
far
the
as.
worst, yeah. But this has also had some other things happen, so. And when we started, this part here was terrible.
Terrible,
Just terrible.
right.
And,
So show me where that's gone from here to the cross? Right now, how far did it go?
we've already done to the cross and then partway over this way,
Right.
a little bit to the left, too. Less than halfway across to the next drive. And so, that's good.
And then this is done to where?
Only about here, just comes up the hill.
Right,
Just where it starts to
Right,
widen out a
right,
little
right,
bit.
Just up to
right.
the- Just up to the
Because
top
it's
of the hill.
narrow right in there because
Yeah.
of the way the land is,
Yeah.
it widens out.
right. So this is paving as, and that's it. That's what we've done.
Yeah.
Okay.
As.
And then we'll see if what we've got
Uh,
left in that account.
And when
Yeah,
did we,
well-
when did he do that?
Hmm?
When did he do when did he do these two sections? I remember.
Oh,
but-
when
Well-
Keith was superintendent.
So it's been 3 years or more,
It's been about 3 years that we haven't done anything.
or more.
We've been waiting for this.
2020?
Actually, it was before COVID because,
Yeah.
because Dave Smith, they
Yes.
didn't do it because of COVID.
It was
2019.
before COVID.
There was
No,
stuff
we
that-
didn't do it because the other superintendent we had in between didn't do anything.
Yeah, well, that's, but well,
It was lazy.
no,
It's been delayed for some time.
Yes,
And
yes.
some of it also had to do with the time when the previous administrator was sick and couldn't keep things moving.
Right, yeah.
Some of it was
I
to do
know.
with that. It was a
I
series
know.
of things,
A
but
series of things that
Uh,
prevented.
in recent times,
Process.
since Kristen has been in office and since Fred's been in office, they have had a contract to do a lot of paving around the town and various
Right.
things. And it's a 3-year contract, and I think this is year 3.
Right.
Year 2.
two, and you've cut,
And it was just a matter of when it came to the surface as to which one gets done next. So this is good news.
yes,
We'll
well,
get it done this fall.
and they've done a lot of paving in town.
Oh,
This-
they've done roads and,
Oh.
and the tennis courts and basketball court, that was all on it. I mean, all on that same contract, all that
Excuse me
stuff.
1 second.
Yeah.
I'm not ignoring
Well, that's good news.
Yeah, that's what, I think they've been up on, Lyman Road doing drainage.
Yes, they've been doing drainage on Lyman Road.
Getting ready for stuff. I saw stuff marked up on the pavement up there too, so.
Yeah, probably will.
All the way down to Jones Road, so, which is good.
Oh, it needs to be.
Yes.
That's lousy up there.
So we want to go.
Needless to say, we've been driving that way a lot since we live on the wrong end of South Street.
It was
all
tough,
the way
but
to the building.
the extra beating hasn't,
Hmm?
the extra traffic hasn't helped it up there.
No. Oh, no. That hasn't helped it a bit.
Where are we talking about now?
And some of it would be heavier than would usually be over that road, too.
Yes.
And then we want to go this way, all the
Yeah.
way to here. Sound effects are necessary.
And,
So. Okay, I have recorded on a map what we're talking about. So how are you gonna what are you gonna show him and then he's gonna?
No, he's already working with Bobby on it.
No, I know, but how are you gonna make the decision?
What decision?
Like, how's it gonna be decided? You just tell him and he's gonna say, yeah, we get the money.
No, I'm gonna go down, mark out what
Yeah,
I
yeah,
want
yeah,
done, and
yeah.
then he's gonna measure it, and he says, I can give you a ballpark of how much it's gonna cost to go what you marked out. And-
Right.
And if there's more money, I'll find out if I can go as
Far as you
further.
wanna go.
And
Gotcha.
go, because if the price is that good, it's might as well get anything
Rock
done
and
that can be
roll.
done.
Rock and
You've
roll.
got
$26,000, $27,000.
Yeah, something like that. And we've got definitely one $15,000 article that is totally for South Cemetery.
Yes, and that will
So,
be spent first.
And the kind of prices I saw on what we have paid for in the past so far, we should be able to do a lot for that.
That's what I thought too,
Yeah,
and that will
and,
be the first account spent.
yeah.
Yeah, gotcha.
Well, see what that amounts to in terms of what Fred thinks, and then.
Yeah,
But
And that'll
that's,
be good.
when we went to town meeting and got that money, that was to do the part that,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
rest of this one and the rest of this one over to here. And we'll probably maybe we'll get a little more done than that.
Okay, so,
So that's all stuff that we did and would be recorded in previous.
so I would
records.
like to
So
say,
the big thing that
if
we've
by
discussed now is
chance-
verifying the amount that to be done and the
if by
cost.
chance,
And then
this-
we'll be getting a cost.
this
on it.
blue is in the budget all the way here, right? If we go.
This part's already done.
Right.
And we might add this much to it.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So if we do this and we're able to do this and then we can go all the way to here and then there's still some money, can we talk about doing this piece? Because this road sucks. It needs some more gravel. It's like, this is such a wonky section.
Well, that section, again, both of these sections were not in bad condition, and that's why we didn't elect to do them.
Really?
At the
prior to this.
time.
Yeah. It's actually the crappy parts over this stuff.
Oh.
This part is the stone driveway.
Oh, so
and
this is
part
the- this
stone
is the
drive-
crappy
This
part.
is the part that's crappy.
Okay.
And,
That seems like a stretch. Maybe we could turn the corner and go this way a little bit.
well, maybe, we'll see.
Robert,
Yeah, I
But
know.
we'll see what,
I've already
you've already thought of that,
thought,
of all of
lot.
it.
yeah, we thought of some of all of that.
Okay.
When it comes, when he works it out with Freddie, we've got
Yeah,
another thing or two there.
I've
that
got-
might-
we got stuff up our
Part A,
sleeve.
Part B, Part
Yeah.
C,
Right, we
depending
got
on
stuff
how it
up our
lays out.
sleeve.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna put this together with these minutes.
And on the other side, one of those articles is in the cemeteries. The one that we've already spent some money out of could also be spent at North.
Yes, that's why I'm
And,
gonna spend,
Oh, that's cool, so we could
'Cause we
come in
wanna-
even
we-
farther.
we did the
Right,
front of the
right, right, right.
North with the road job out front.
Yeah,
And when I was out in there for the funeral last week, I come out of there and I said, boy, is that nice the way you come out
oh,
of there.
yeah.
oh, it's beautiful.
Oh, it really is, oh, it really is.
Um,
It's like you drive on it, it's like going from it's like getting go drive on an old car, what it was, and
yeah.
now it's like you got a brand new car.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And we could extend that drive back further if we've got
So that's
money
the
to
other
do it.
piece,
Well-
cool.
And that's
Very
another
cool.
possibility that could be done. But we've got to think in terms of
That's my pencil.
what we want to do. We got to figure out the amount we want to do up there.
Yeah.
In the next, I mean, we'll see what this comes out to.
Yep,
If there's really a substantial amount left, I'd rather just extend the drive up there as much
Well,
you can. But I will also, but we've got to figure it out better before we can ask for more money to do the rest of that one up.
yes, oh, absolutely.
But if there's some money left in what's already appropriated, we could do some of it now.
Yeah, yep. Okay.
Yep,
I
Good.
went- So I went and checked prices on a mower, a new
Oh, yeah.
Walker mower. I should have been sitting down, but that's all right.
Uh-oh.
Well, they're expensive.
Of course they are.
They're
Of course
expensive.
they are.
And I priced something, it's just like the old mower. Gas, no high lift,
no extra stuff.
no extra. The only thing extra I got was I priced the suspension seat, which is what the new mowers have. Because when you sit on that thing for 8 or 10 hours a day, you need the best you can have.
Yeah.
And you get somebody that weighs 170 pounds on it, or someone that weighs 230.
Yeah,
it makes a difference.
Yeah.
And so I did in both, because I priced one up there with one, and he suggested this is another model, it's identical, it's just not quite as much horsepower.
Yeah,
And he didn't think it would be okay, it was identical. And that again was with the suspension seat.
yeah,
And I did price a couple of implements. One thing I did price was, and again, it has to do with the height of a person, where your legs, they make adjustable footrests. They mount on the bracket and you can move them
Yeah.
back and forth, whether
Yeah.
you're 5'6"
for the
or
size of the
6'3",
person, yeah,
which again makes it comfortable for the person.
yeah,
And this is the one I originally went up priced, and they also, because we're a municipality, we get a 15% discount. And the mower, there's the price on the mower, and the mower deck is that much. You pay for it's a separate thing, and that's the seat, and it would come to that much money. But then you take the 15% discount, it comes down to
18,000.
$18,000. That's for the one, the T27, and that's a 26.5 horsepower. It's got electronic fuel ignition. It's identical. The two of them are identical except for the horsepower.
And this is the lesser 1 horsepower?
No, this is the one here. This is the lesser one,
Okay,
which is it's a new one that just came out, and it's a C23i. And
oh,
the deck is the same, the seat is the same,
$2,500 less,
$2,500 less.
wow.
Yeah, and that's when the up there, Steve, he said, this is the only difference is the horsepower. And
And what was the horsepower on that one? The C23i?
that is a 23, and the other one's 26.5. And it's got the seat's the same price, and the footrest would be the same price.
That's,
But then again, that's, the 15.5 is with the 15% municipality.
Freddie's,
He likes the design of those. I'm gonna sit down and talk to him.
yeah,
Well, because he said to me he likes the design of the Walker mower because everything is self-contained inside that 48-inch deck.
when you're working around the stones and everything,
You can't have
you can't have something that's,
hanging off and.
48-inch deck on both of these?
Yes. And I talked to one of the guys, and you get in the center cemetery, 48 inches gets in everywhere, and if you have a 52-inch deck, there's places that can't get in. Never mind having something hang
Yeah.
off the side,
yeah,
bagger or some, or,
Yeah.
pipe, and it gets in everywhere itself too.
well, what it comes down to is Freddie, who's dealing with a lot of other mowers and that they use in other places, but he's in agreement with us that this is the
Yeah.
best thing
Well,
for
he-
us to have for our use.
Well, he likes the design.
Yeah.
right?
And it's Walker, right? Walker
Yes.
mower.
And I'm gonna
Yeah.
talk to him in the next,
You don't need to
tomorrow.
put all the detail in that until we make an action later, but that we're looking at different models and.
Yeah, yeah.
And consulting with Freddie and stuff on it.
Because I went and talked, and this would have to go, I think, to capital planning, and that has to be in.
Have to go to
We
capital.
have a meeting, our next meeting in October is before the stuff has to be
The
in.
November.
Yes,
date.
because it's the date, I got the
So we
packet,
would put in we would put in an article,
a request.
and I would, if we're talking this, I'd put in for 16,000.
I'd put in for 16.5.
Hmm.
Just, because last time we did that, we ended up short. Because, we don't have to spend it all.
Yeah.
Right, but by the time it actually went to purchase
Because
point,
you're talking next July,
yeah.
and
Yeah,
it
you're
could be an
talking, we
increase.
can't buy it till next July.
And they will,
And we'll have to go out to bid with it.
right, and they
Well,
will.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll have to get quotes,
We'll have to
whatever.
get 3 prices, I think.
And that'll be done through the town administrator.
Sure.
And so I guess the other piece of that is we should consult with her about it. It's when we think we've come to where we are with
Yes.
it, consult with her and,
And when I talked to Steve, he said, because I walked in and it takes time to write, if I call him, he will make out a formal proposal and he can
Yeah.
get emailed
Yeah.
to us.
yeah.
He's
yeah.
going on vacation next week. He's there this week.
Okay.
Very nice person talking to you.
Okay, that's good, and so we'll keep working on that, and probably at our next meeting, we will take an action on a request for that.
I also looked at a few extra things too.
Yes?
Well, one of them is one of the guys about a blower for it, so
Yeah.
you can blow leaves to clean up leaves. And that requires the blower and a special hitch on the front and weights for the back, and that's $4,000. Again, just something to
Yeah.
think about, because I figured worst can happen is get told no. Well,
We don't have that on our others.
It's smart.
no. But as far as
It would be something this one would provide
provide, and
that we
I'm
don't have.
gonna ask him, I would think, because those things seem to be pretty standard, that it might fit on the older ones too. Where the diesel
That might be
might
an item you could move.
move from one to the other,
Machine
and
to
the
the other.
diesel might handle it
Okay.
easier. That's what I wanna ask when I
And
talk to
again,
him.
consult with Freddie whether he thinks
It's
that's
worth it or not, you know,
worth
what,
it, yeah.
something they might be interested in
Yeah,
doing as far as cleanup.
yeah.
And you just go along and blow all
Might
the.
save a lot of time in the fall.
Yes, and you go,
Yeah.
like, under the trees, you just blow it probably into the road and just vacuum it up and be gone.
Right into the cemetery roads
It's just a driveway.
that we
and
just,
Yeah, into
that
the
we just
driveways, yeah.
paved. Cool.
Well, okay, that's worth
Any
looking
other
at, too.
accessories? Were the hats?
Hats, no. Paul Wheeler, no, you don't need T-shirts from them. But I figured I was there, so I'd ask. I mean,
That is not necessarily have to be attached to the mower. Could be bought separately, right?
yes, it could be.
I will say you'll have a period of a few years when you can get that attachment for that
Oh, yeah.
particular mower until they change the design,
yeah.
and then you can't get
But
one anymore,
if
but
it-
yeah.
But they seem to, I'm gonna ask,
We could buy that if we have excess funds at the end of the year, we could buy it.
yes, you could buy
We could-
pieces of it.
We could buy that
Yeah,
chunk in June,
when we have,
Yep.
when we have budget to spend. It's
But,
smart.
yes.
if we had it, yeah.
Yes, and they tend to, their parts seem to always interchange.
Yeah.
Very smart.
And like
The
their-
Walker stuff.
Yes, the mower blades, the 40, it's the same, the one that's 25 years old is the same as the new ones.
Yeah,
Very smart.
So it might, I'm gonna ask him with
Good
the
design.
2013 and the 19, if that hitch works on those particular models.
Wow.
Well, it makes it just more.
No, it's so
Makes it more
cool.
universal.
So many companies don't do that, and then you get a whole series
Oh, yeah,
of parts, and
it's-
then they
it's
obsolete the
obsolete,
parts, and then
yeah.
they get
Oh,
a
yeah.
new model, and nothing fits. It's stupid. It's so
well, it's interesting, when we started with this business, we had 2 old mowers,
yeah.
and we bought 1 new one. And then we bought, 3 years later, we bought a second new one.
Although,
And by that time, one of the others was completely out of it and gone. And the other one that we had as a backup is the one that we're now replacing.
Right.
well,
And
two-
it seems that the word is we now need to own 3 instead of 2 that are serviceable.
he had 3 summer help today, so they're all, this year there was 3 summer help, so they're all mowing. And it gets done that much quicker, and.
And they have 2 people in the cemetery at the same time
Sure,
working
sure.
on site, which is
Safety.
kind of an OSHA thing.
Yeah, well, it's safe, it's safer,
Definitely,
especially.
it's an OSHA thing.
And it also gets done quicker, and they have they do a lot of mowing
Oh,
around
they
town.
do a lot of mowing, do a lot
A
of mowing.
lot of mowing.
Yeah.
I
The-
think more than people realize.
The, so we're looking at keeping 3 mowers running. Now, the other thing is, our first new one that we bought
It's a 2013,
is already 10 years old.
10, it's.
11.
It's,
Yeah.
11 and a
well, the
half.
new models,
Yeah.
next year, you're almost 12, you're gonna be 12 years old.
So by the time we get this, that's gonna be 12 years old, even
Right.
though we consider that a first line piece, but that's kinda turned into a back rub.
And the other one, the other new diesel is a 2019.
The other one is quite new. The diesel versus gas again,
I thought I didn't ask the price on the diesel.
yeah,
I just I thought it would be easier to replace the one we had. It might go over a little better. And that mower's 25 years old.
oh, the one that we're replacing.
Yes, talking replacement.
yeah.
It's 25 years old.
We already owned that when I got on this board 15,
It was it got bought,
18 years ago, whatever it was.
it was bought used in 2005.
It was bought new?
Used.
Used, that's what I thought. It was
So it
bought
was a
used in
1999?
2005.
No, it's a 2000.
Replacing,
Yeah. It was bought used in
Gas.
2005, and we've had it all, and we've
Power.
used it and used it and used it.
Yeah, and it's been good.
And that was the one we used the most for quite a while.
Yes, it was.
Oh, it's gotten a hell of a lot of wear.
And it's on its second motor, but that's,
It's on its second motor. Yeah, we replaced the motor on it once. It's certainly given us good service.
yes,
and it's a walker,
yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, I didn't really anticipate buying another new mower now, and I figured we'd just have the 2 when the time came, but with one of them already 10 years, more than 10 years
12
old,
years old.
yeah, maybe it makes sense to buy another one.
It does,
It's worth putting it up there.
it does, because it
And-
would be not good to have 2 of them go down, in
Yeah.
succession, which is how things
It
usually
would be a
break.
good thing for us to go with this, to have a note from Fred that it really is important to have at least 2 mowers always working,
Yeah,
because you need to be able to run 2 at the same time.
at least 2.
And therefore, having the third one is important. And this one is now getting to the point where it's not a
It's-
good idea to repair it.
Well, that's it, because the parts they just bought, I said, there's, how much, says this is how much, because it gets to a
That we
point
just
where
spent on this one,
it's too much.
yeah. Okay, so we're gonna plan to conclude what our proposal will be at our next meeting
Yes,
and put that in for a special article for this year. That makes sense to me, and then we'll worry about more driveway money the following year.
there's, I'll talk to him and have him, when I talk to
Yeah.
have him write up I'll write up the 2 proposals, have him do 2 proposals for the 2 different machines.
Yeah. And
Cool.
when the money actually gets appropriated, then we go out, then we do the bidding and quoting process that has to be done, and
Right,
and we'll see what we get back for prices at that point, but. All righty,
are we all set?
Well-
We covered everything?
Well, I got one more.
one more.
Oh,
I got a call from Donnie Richer today.
From,
Donnie Richer.
yeah,
And he's looking to buy a plot or a couple of graves. And him and Joanne, his wife, he wanted to know if there was anything down to Pleasant Street,
yeah,
because that's their first choice would be. And I
okay.
said, you knew more.
Do they,
I think they're looking for 2, or 1, because I think 1 has to be a full. when I talked to Donnie before.
Okay. All righty. What did I just run onto on something or other? I ran onto some others I didn't know were there. Well, we've got the two where La Virtue is in that lot. I think we've got three in that
There's
lot.
3 there.
There's 3 graves there. So that's one place we could go.
Okay.
Some other place in the cemetery that I ran out to recently, I said, oh, look at that, there's a couple, so. Ouch.
And La Virtue, they put a stone in, so he could have a stone too, if he
Yes,
wants.
he could have a stone there with it. We'd be left with one grave, but that's all right, every so often you need one, and somebody could be in that. Yeah, I got that one for him, and then, of course, we've got those, cremation onlys in
On the-
row D, but
Yeah, I don't think he's,
that's not what he's
when I
looking
talked to
for.
him before, Donnie, he seemed to, was.
Yeah.
So he wants at least one that's a full burial.
Well, that's what he had talked to before, and I'm gonna call him back and talk to him and.
Gotcha. Yep,
Get,
more details.
yes.
Cool.
I've sold all the stuff that was in that one over there.
Do you want the map again?
No. No,
Good.
no, I don't need it.
So where is
I
the,
don't know what else I've got.
huh,
But I think there are, I think there are, another place or two that.
There's something.
Yeah, yeah. And I need to go back and review some of my papers on that whole subject, because I might find something else. I'm trying to remember what one it was that I found something in not too long ago. I'll do some looking.
where were you? What, you don't remember when it was? Was it doing memorial flowers? Was it when we were doing the flowers?
No, it was
Since
more
then.
recently.
Since then.
It was more recently. No, we got a couple of graves in one of these lots in here that we can sell them. I've tried to sell those to some other people, but they chose other ones, but now the other ones are gone, so.
Right, so Eastern Avenue 3, where's La Virtue?
It's over near the
Well, it's in
shed.
one of those.
Oh,
It's a lot that half of it was turned back to us, and then we
right.
resold it. In fact, it was then resold back to us because they decided they'd rather be in the North Cemetery, so. But that's all right. All
That's
of that
fine.
stuff is
That's the way it works some days.
fine.
Cool.
Okay.
So I'm very excited about this whole driveway thing. It seems
Yep.
like it's been a long time coming. It's awesome, though.
Yeah,
Well, we'll see how it pans out.
Yeah. Very much so.
Okay, I can call Donnie back.
I gotta return that pen. So are we
Are
done?
yes.
Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
Yes, second. Motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
It's,